Today on the 1UpBeat. We'll be covering some of the best arrangement albums of 2022. You'll hear music from Journey, The Wonderful 101, and more.
Since 1996, this is the Cinematic Sound Radio Network.
Welcome back to the show. I wanted to do this episode earlier than I had in the past, just to casualize it a bit more. I always saw the arranged album shows as less of a ranking or award show, and more as just using the opportunity to show off great arrangements. And I feel like if I wait until the following year to do it, so close to the Best of the Year show, it feels too associated with that. But again, it's just more about celebrating great music making, so here we are. This time we'll be covering 5 albums with quite the diversity in genre. But of course, I still managed to fit 2 jazz albums on the show, as you'd expect. I figured we'll do it by release date, just to make it fair. Let's get started. Since 2017, Square Enix has done an album under the Square Enix Jazz brand. The first was aimed directly at Final Fantasy. The second opened it up a bit more to Square Enix series like Legend of Mana and Nier. The third was in 2020, so of course it was all about Final Fantasy VII. And last year they did an album about Saga. This year, it's Chrono Trigger. I almost wasn't going to cover this album on the show because it's the 5th or 6th album if you count the 2 Final Fantasy VII albums, and Chrono Trigger already managed 2 spots on the Volume 2 album back in 2018. But these jazz albums are still great. Professional jazz arrangements. Plus, with our last album on the show today also being jazz, I thought it would be a good opportunity to contrast the 2 different styles. We're going to skip the main theme arrangement on the album just because it had been covered already on the Volume 2 album, and instead play jazz arrangements of Far Off Promise and World Revolution. There's not much more to say about it, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it, so please do.
The best music ever recorded for video games is here on the 1UpBeat with your host, Eric Silver.
On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, on March 13, 2022, probably the most popular cover album of the year was released. You know from the intro, and anyone who's well-versed in game music won't be shocked, it's Traveler, A Journey Symphony. Austin Wintory's masterpiece score was released 10 years ago this year. The score changed, in many ways, the style of video game scoring and skyrocketed the composer to be a household name in the game music world. I'm always a little skeptical of the new hot thing, so it took me a couple years to give Journey a try. I realized the whole game was only a couple hours long, so I had a free afternoon one day, and I went for it. The game seemed aimless at first, or maybe I just didn't know what was going on and wasn't used to a game that artistically took its time like that. Fast forward a couple hours, and I'm flying up a mountain with the most lush, gorgeous music possible. Music that propels an exciting scene into a true emotional experience. It's not an exaggeration to say that the music in Journey pushes the overall game to another level, and it makes you feel something. It's the perfect marriage of visual and audio. Wintory was able to work with the world-renowned London Symphony Orchestra on this new arrangement of the music from Journey. And so you're treated to not only the composer revisiting his magnum opus after 10 years with a new perspective and 10 years of additional musical experience, but it's presented by one of the absolute best orchestras in the world. Austin Wintory himself was kind enough to share some thoughts for the show. Here's what he said. Partway through 2021, it dawned on me that Journey would be turning 10 the following year, and considering it still holds such a central place in my life and career, I felt the need to revisit it, to offer up something to the unending generosity of people online who've not stopped supporting it all these years. In parallel, the London Symphony and I had been searching for a project to collaborate on, and this seemed like the perfect candidate. Please enjoy this little taste of Traveler, A Journey Symphony, composed and rearranged by Austin Wintory. Go and purchase the album as well, and support grade A music making like this as much as possible.
the home of the best video game music coming out of your speakers. This is the 1UpBeat on Cinematic Sound Radio.
One of the sleeper hit games of the Wii U, if anything could be a sleeper hit game on the Wii U, was The Wonderful 101 by Platinum Games. Everyone who knows Wii U knows what a bomb it was, and made it very difficult for niche games like The Wonderful 101 to do well, even if the idea was really good. Platinum Games wanted another crack at success, so in 2020, they launched a Kickstarter to port the game to the PC, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. The idea, obviously, was with 3 platforms, as of 2022, each having at least 100 million owners, it was a better environment than the sad 13 million Wii U's sold. One of the stretch goal rewards for the game was a remix album. That remix album was finally released to backers in June of 2022. It's a really great arrangement album, consisting of new arrangements of themes from the game by other well-known game composers. You have a track by Keiichi Okabe, which sounds like the Wonderful 101 music with a near sound font. You have the other previous Platinum Games collaborators like Rushden and Diamonds, the hip-hop group that worked on Anarchy Reigns, and arrangements by Yoko Shimomura and Yuzo Koshiro, both tracks very much in their individual styles. The album is a brisk 35 minutes and never gets boring thanks to the variety in genres. So let's take a listen, shall we? Here's The Wonderful 101 remixed.
So many styles upon styles. Michael, are you ready, man? For what? Saving the day? Absolutely.
Brace for collision, these be heroes on a mission.
Visionaires with no fear, blessed and pass a competition.
Be aware, say your prayers, time to break your superstition. Had to switch up super strength, cause together's no division.
My lair over there, used to contemplating villains, used to contemplate the snares of these funky compositions.
What's the flair? Unaware, planetary with precision.
Earth can vary with the vibes, but we got the secret weapon.
Come together wonderfully, all my friends surrounding me. Ultra dense metallic merge the powers of our energy.
Link together honestly, this could be a part of me. Here for your protection, mass deflection from our enemies.
Suited up, we sentinel, united the arsenal. Went from being mortal to the wonderfully invincible.
Special combat critical, Earth might need some heroes, yo. Alien invasion is upon us, that's hysterical.
Powered exoskeleton, so dense biometallic.
Gather up the heroes, cause it's time to save the planet.
We in this forever, linked together, wonder branded.
Battle soon commences, so we'll never leave you stranded.
Fists, swords, guns, whips, I'ma show you what it is.
Wolf to claw, bomb and hammer, while we're handling our biz.
Stay connected, come together, we can make it if we switch.
Group protect and stay deflection in this bitch, yo.
Warning lights flashing, prepped and ready for invasion.
Frontline locked and loaded to protect the global nation.
100 together, everybody to their station.
Prepare for boss battle as we saddle up the spaceship. Oh yeah, baby, oh yeah. It's absolutely wonderful to be joining up on this mission.
What mission?
To be protecting Earth, man.
Oh yeah, from that real jerk.
Tiny morphin' pseudo-atomic Earth gonna need these agents. If you want to bet, you can get on my jet and stop the whole invasion. Trick the particle blast and next reaction to your hatred. One red, blue and yellow, green, white, pink and black will save us.
Boss is standing much taller. Tiny morphin' these scholars. If you see me pop my collar, we be Marvel busted brawlers.
All of us together are unstoppable now. We 100 feel the thunder cause these jerks going down.
When the troubles come calling with no warning, and our enemies are trying to bring us down, all together we can own it if we want it. Put our fears to the side, we're gonna make it sound.
Cause we're gonna make it pow.
Oh yes, Michael, can't you see? He's gaining more power.
Who's gaining power?
The boss, Michael.
Boss, hey?
Yes, the final boss.
Heroes bound to be blasting on a mission to the fortress.
If you want to try, you can go to the side. Though evil gets enormous.
Traction calls for action till we're flashing like an artist.
If you want to crash, we can go to my stash and bomb these fools regardless. Rockets thrust and wonder rise, and I cannot believe my eyes. One dependent soul together, we can make it if we try. Call the battle, masked and ready. This is how we'll save your life. All united, Secret Service, standing right here by your side.
Stop the rockets going blasting, going on past you, pumping up faster.
Overload of your master, blow the reactor. I'm the forecaster.
Earth could be a disaster, gonna stay fractured, breaking all factors.
It's time to bring the focus, all together we connect.
When the troubles come calling with no warning, and our enemies are trying to bring us down, all together we can own it if we want it.
What? Where did he go?
Didn't you see, buddy? I just blasted them all to smithereens.
How victorious!
I'm starting to feel like a real hero.
You are listening to the 1UpBeat on Cinematic Sound Radio.
If you ever listen to the show for any amount of time, you know how much I like the game brass. The premier brass quintet, sometimes brass ensemble, sometimes collaborator with other groups. Their latest album, released September of 2022, is called Brass Effect. Obviously a play off the sci-fi series Mass Effect. It's a double album arrangement extravaganza of only music having to do with space. The variety of games featured is really uplifting. You have the obvious games to feature like Super Mario Galaxy, Mass Effect itself, and Halo, but then you have others like Lost Planet, Star Ocean, and Jet Force Gemini. As has been the case for a lot of the recent game brass music, there are some guest stars that play along with the brass ensemble. I will admit, in the past, I was never crazy about the guest stars only because I'm here for the creativity of the brass quintet. I feel like when you have to work around the restrictions of writing for such a limitation like just a brass quintet, it makes for some really creative arrangements and ideas. In this case, with the album being just a hair under 2 hours long, I think the guest stars help a lot. As great as brass ensemble music is, I'm sure it could get tiring over a long period of time, so the different guests freshen things up a lot. And just as you're starting to get your fill of another type of instrument, it's back to basics with just the brass. The pacing of the album is just really good in that way. With so much to choose from, I thought we'd just play the title track, which isn't quite a title track. With the album being called Brass Effect, the track is Suite from Mass Effect Trilogy. This track is one of the special guest star tracks, featuring the Videri String Quartet and Purple Shala. It's a really great combination of instruments here. You're dealing with a brass ensemble, string quartet, and piano. The arrangement by composer John Robert Matz is still perfectly restrained in its creativity. The combination of instrument types here works wonderfully. Here's Robbie Duguay from the Game Brass with more.
Hi, I'm Robbie Duguay from the Game Brass. I'm one of the founding members and I play the second trumpet. Brass Effect is our 7th studio album as a group, and the Game Brass has been a band for about 5 years now. With Brass Effect, we knew that space was a big topic to explore, and there were going to be a lot of incredible soundtracks to cover. And one of the things we most like with having a theme like this means that we get to do things that are happy, do things that are sad, play, really serious and technical pieces, and do really fun and, vibrant pieces. And the space theme was no exception to this. There were so many tracks that we felt just absolutely had to be on the album. And that conversation happened so many times that it ended up being a double album. So the entire production of the album took just around a year. When we were just wrapping up, I think it was Horns of Hyrule, but before we started doing A Link to the Brass, we started working on some arrangements. John Robert arranged the Mass Effect suite, and then we sort of got things kicked off from there. Now, each of us arranged something on this album, but this was the first album where we actually approached outside arrangers. So it was really nice to sort of collaborate with some of the people who aren't necessarily brass players or aren't performers themselves, but still include them in our album. That was a really great experience for us. On first trumpet, we have John Robert Matz. On second trumpet, we have myself, Robbie Duguay. On first horn, we had Danny Flam. On second horn, we have John Stacy. On trombone, Daniel Romberger. On tuba, Alex Hill. And our producer / mixer / sheet music captain, whatever you want to call him, the guy who keeps us on schedule, is Thomas Kresge. Here is Suite from Mass Effect, arranged by John Robert Matz and featuring the Videri String Quartet and Purple Shala. The next big project for the Game Brass is a live performance. We have been invited to the main stage of MagFest, which will be happening in Maryland in January. We really hope that you can come and see us or tune into the live stream to see the best live performance the Game Brass has ever put on. We're really excited. We've been rehearsing since the end of August, I believe, so stay tuned for that.
You are listening to the 1UpBeat with your host, Eric Silver.
Finally on the show, we promised you bookend jazz albums, and we are delivering. It features an artist I've wanted to feature for a while now, and as soon as I heard he had a new album coming out, I jumped on the opportunity. The album is called Searching for Friends, a big band jazz tribute to Final Fantasy VI. It's performed by the multiplayer big band and arranged by bandleader Tyler Meir. Tyler is one of the most talented guys working in game music today. You'll hear this when we play some music in a moment. The arrangement skills here are so on point. Every moment written is satisfying, orchestrated perfectly. In addition to promoting a great artist, this music is a great contrast to the CHRONO TRIGGER jazz. The CHRONO TRIGGER jazz is very loose, laid back, relaxed, improv heavy. Compare that to what you hear in a moment, which is a very precise, tight arrangements, exact performances according to the charts. That's not putting one above the other, outside of the fact that just point to point, these two specific albums, I like the Meir one better. But it demonstrates the range available here in music arranging. As for some of the ideas about the album and its creation process, let's take a listen to the composer's own words.
Hi everyone, this is Tyler Meir. I am the composer, bandleader, and trumpet player for the multiplayer big band. And we just finished our newest album, an album that celebrates the music of Final Fantasy VI. It's a short 6-track, I suppose you might call it an EP instead of an official album. It follows our first full-length album that we released earlier this year called Critical Hits, which was 9 arrangements of classic video game tunes from all games. But for this new project, Searching for Friends, I wanted to focus specifically on Final Fantasy VI for kind of a few reasons. Final Fantasy VI is one of my favorite games of all time, and I've just always been fond of the music. Something about Uematsu's melodies have really stuck with me throughout my life. I have sort of revisited the game when my son was born in late 2020, and I was pulling the night shifts while my wife was resting. I would be staying up to 3 and 4 in the morning regularly while he was waking up intermittently. I'd be feeding him milk and such. And I decided, hey, okay, I need something to pass the time while he's taking these short little cat naps. So I got my Wii out and found FF6 on the Virtual Console and was able to play it. And I just had such a blast replaying the game. I probably played it about a dozen or so times since I played it when I was a young kid. And so I just wanted to arrange the titular track Searching for Friends for big band because I've always loved that tune, and when I was playing that session of FF6 I happened to grind a lot in the World of Ruin, and so that theme was constantly playing and it just kind of ran rent-free in my mind. So once Critical Hits finished and I got to summer and I was done with my school semester, I realized I had a short window of time to do a lot of arranging. So I just got to work and decided to arrange. Originally I was going to do another 9-track album, but I just realized that was a little bit too ambitious for my life at the time, so I settled on 5 tracks, which are Decisive Battle, the boss theme, Mog's theme, Johnny Seabad, Celis's theme, and Searching for Friends. And, put together the same band, few new faces, and did the remote thing again, and I hope everyone enjoys it. So Searching for Friends, a big band jazz tribute to Final Fantasy VI, is now out, and I sincerely hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
Since the Searching for Friends album is very short, a nice brisk 22 minutes, you only get 1 track this time, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Here's Searching for Friends, a big band jazz tribute to Final Fantasy VI, arranged by Tyler Meir for the multiplayer big band. Thanks for tuning in to the show today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again on the 1UpBeat. This is Eric Silver.
Thank you for listening to the Cinematic Sound Radio Podcast. I want to thank Tim Burton for providing his voice for all the bumpers you hear throughout the program, and to David Coscina for providing Cinematic Sound Radio's theme music. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at cinematicsound@yahoo.com. You can find us on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And wherever you're listening to us today, please take a moment right now to leave us a rating and a review of the podcast. You can get a Cinematic Sound Radio t-shirt at our TeePublic store. You can join our Patreon at patreon.com/cinematicsoundradio. And don't forget to check us out on the web at cinematicsound.net.